Hello everyone, we're here to talk about the Disneyland Magic Key passes that were announced, I believe August 3rd. They'll be available for purchase August 25th, and they're replacing what was the Disneyland Annual Pass, which was done away with during COVID when the parks were closed. But now we will have essentially the Annual Pass back in the form of these Magic Key passes. Um, so there's four keys: the Dream Key, Believe Key, Enchant Key, and Imagine Key. And we're going to break each of these down in a comparison for, like a normal trip versus a trip with the Magic Key, and how much money you can save per key. So we'll start with the Imagine Key here. And you can see, so the Imagine Key allows for two reservations at a time. A park reservation counts as, reserving, saying, I'm going to Disneyland this day. I'm going to California Adventure this day. And as you use those, you can make more reservations, and each of the passes will behave like this. I have heard that there's an option for you to designate that you are going to be park hopping. So we'll see what that looks like over the next few weeks as these passes are able to be used. But starting with the Imagine Key here, we're comparing against a 2-day park hopper with our Imagine Key. The 2-day park hopper is $290 and the Imagine Key is $400. I budgeted $60 a day for food. We're going to go more, maybe on the pricier side. Obviously, you can budget more, to whatever you want. I think this would be on the pricier side for 2 days. That's just me personally, though. Souvenir, I mean, hey, you can buy a lightsaber for $200, so we'll just put that in there for argument's sake. But the Imagine Key gives you food and souvenirs, 10% off each of those. So, if you want, you can look here for our normal trips and Imagine trips. How much is one trip going to cost? How much is two trip going to cost for each of those? But over here, I've broken it down into savings. So your first trip, you'll lose money, as you would expect. Your second trip, you'll start saving money, and after that, you're going to save more and more and more, obviously. The notable thing about the Imagine Key, though, is that it's only for Southern California residents. So if you do not live in Southern California within a range of zip codes, it's listed on the Disneyland website, which I'll link in the description, you can't get the key. And so this is obviously if you live in Southern California, you go to Disneyland every now and then, you want to be able to go there more than 2 days in a year, which is probably pretty likely, I would imagine, if you're watching this video. Then I mean you'll save it. You'll save money even if you just want to go in and try some food. I mean, hey, save money right there. So we will move on to the Enchant Key now, which is my personal favorite. So the Enchant Key allows for 4 reservations at a time. So we'll be comparing against a 4-day park hopper, which runs $395. The Enchant Key is $650. So again, that first trip you'll lose money a bit more this time, but that second trip you'll start saving money, and you'll save more and more every time. The discounts, the food and souvenirs, are still at 10%. So your major savings here is obviously in the tickets. This to me is a good balance between buying an annual pass, having the ability to get those discounts and not have to pay for tickets every single time you go, and not paying an outrageous amount to do that. So again, you can view the savings here as they go up over however many trips you take. I mean, just even that second trip, you start seeing savings. So we'll move on. We'll move on to the Believe Key now. It's our yellow guy here. And so the Believe Key and the Dream Key is the same way, can hold 6 reservations at a time. So since the largest ticket that you can buy for Disneyland is a 5-day ticket, we'll be comparing against the 5-day park hopper here, which runs $415. The Believe Key is $950. And food and souvenir are still just 10% off with this key, but you get half off parking. So if you are someone that goes and parks in order to get into Disneyland, then this can save you a lot of money. If you are not, I'll just take away this parking cost here, then it's not quite as cost efficient. I mean, you're still going to save money in the long run because you get a lot of those park days, but in my opinion, if you are someone that's traveling from out of state, booking a hotel, having to buy airfare, then you're much better off getting in one of those good neighbor hotels that are right across the street from Disney and just walking there than you are driving to a parking lot and walking the exact same distance from the parking lot. So just something to think about. But you can see the savings start to go up wildly the more and more you go. Again, as you would expect, we can still see uh, savings here just on that second trip though. So we'll swap over to our last magic key, the Dream Key, which is our priciest one at $1,400. Like I said before, it has 6 reservations that you can hold at a time, 6 park day reservations that you can have at a time. So we'll be comparing against Disney's largest ticket, the 5-day park hopper, which again runs $415. The Dream Key has higher discounts. That's pretty much that's the major difference between this and the Believe Key. So food 15%, souvenirs 20% off, and parking is free, which is awesome if you have to park. Again, if you don't, we're not going to see much here, right? Still wildly expensive if you're not paying for that parking. So, um, but if you do have to park, it can help so much. You know, you're gonna have to go a decent bit to make it worth it. But once you get over that initial threshold, it's just paying for itself at that point. So if you're someone that goes to Disneyland a lot, this can really help. Um, but my major takeaway from all of these keys is, you have the Imagine Key, which is for SoCal residents. I think that's great if you live in Southern California. If you go, you want to go to Disneyland every now and then, you could go like, if you live in there, I mean, you could just go like once per weekend just for the day or something. I don't know. I mean, I've never been that close, so but that's kind of like you don't really go in large blocks of time kind of thing. That's how I picture that one. The Enchant Key, I think, is probably the most efficient if you're someone that lives out of state and you're flying to California, Orange County to go to Disneyland. You can stay in one of those good neighbor hotels and that's close enough to the park to just walk, or a hotel that has a shuttle, then you don't need to pay for parking anyways. Enchant Key is going to be great. A 4-day park hopper is, I mean, having 4 days in the park is a good number of days. And I've often heard it recommended that you build in a break day anyways into your trip, just to rejuvenate. So, 2 days in the park, take a break, just have a pool day or something, and then another 2 days in the park. And then the Believe Key and the Dream Key, I think, are a lot better if you're someone that lives within driving distance of Disneyland, but it's still kind of far. I don't know. I mean, if you have to park at Disneyland, then that's where a lot of those savings for those keys come from. Um, or if you're someone that buys a lot of food and you're going to the more expensive restaurants, if you're someone that buys a lot of those souvenirs, or you are just building lightsabers up the wazoo, then those can start saving a lot of money. But I picture the Enchant Key being the most efficient for out of state, and then the Dream or the Believe Key being probably the better picks if you are um, in California within driving distance. Imagine Key obviously is just a good budget option if you go there. If you go to the park 3 days, it's worth it. Basically. The other thing to mention is that the Imagine Key, the Enchant Key, the Believe Key, the Dream Key, they all have different options in terms of when you can go. So the Dream Key has 0 blockout dates. That's huge. If you want flexibility in when you can go, the Dream Key is the best for that. The Believe Key has a lot of flexibility in that too. They are not blocked out for most days. And the Enchant Key is mainly open during the off season of Disneyland. February, March, September. I mean, and it's sort of like a lot of the weekends and the holidays aren't generally open. So you do have to plan your vacation with the Enchant Key around that, which can be hard if you have to deal with, schools only out in the summer, so you have to go around then, or spring break or something. It might not be open with the Enchant Key, so you have to check the blockout dates for that. Um, the Imagine Key has a lot of blockout dates, so that's the main reason. If you live around Disneyland and you have to use that parking, then and you want to go a lot, then the Imagine Key can make that a little more difficult purely because it's blocked out a lot of the days. So I hope this helped. Please leave any questions in the comments and have a good one.